Alright folks,
And then
thanks for tuning in tonight. We're getting ready to run the DIRTKARS mini stock series. We're going to be here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. Looks like we got 7 cars here tonight.
Mr. Flowers,
a couple
had
new
a very
guys.
criminal history. He essentially was a career bank robber and had
It's
been
going to be a fun night.
out of both federal and state prison as a result of that.
I do believe I am leading
record showed that Flowers
points
had
right
broken
now.
out of prison
Take a
just
quick
days
look
before
here.
Carey's murder and was still at large when the murder and theft occurred. Strangely,
yes, I am leading the points by 12 points over Michael Steele,
neither did
30 points over Devin Smith in third. Kyle Thayer is in fourth, 48 points out. Logan Tackett is in fifth, 58 points out. Sean Patrick in sixth, Justin Walring seventh. Ben Morrow in eighth, Kyle Lingerfeld in fifth, and Daniel Northcutt rounding out the top 10.
We're after the money.
Alright, heat race number 1 is on deck. We are not in this one, so we will be waiting here for just a minute.
And they also found evidence that Flowers much preferred the amenities of the state prison to the federal prison system.
We'll get a beat on one of these guys and see what happens here. Michael Steele on the outside front row. Michael Davis inside newcomer. Jason Favell row 2 with just Joey Brewer on the outside.
Again, the case turned cold.
Joey Brewer. There we go. 064 cars starting to roll off here.
More than 600 in all, and none of them panned out until investigators took one.
Missing some of our normal drivers here tonight. That happens when we're racing leagues in the summertime. Hopefully they'll make it back next week. So my goal here tonight is just stay ahead of Michael Steele in that number 5 car. Don't want him to close in at all. We're getting down towards the end of this one.
I might never learn how to say this, but it's the only one I can trust for my hair color.
Alright, after tonight we got 2 races left, Fairbury and Cedar Lake.
An ordinary pretzel just isn't enough, so they add savory seasoning and tempting buttery flavor into every delicious twist. Now that's enough to make you build an all pretzel pan.
We go on green, gentlemen. Wrong button. Davis in that 064 machine jumps out to an early lead over Michael Steele. Then we got Fravel and Brewer side by side in the back. All cars do transfer, but where you finish in the heat race is important. All positions do get points. So the better you finish, the better you're going to be overall. Right now, Davis holding on to that front spot. Six laps to go for the 64. Michael Steele 0.6 of a second back on a dirt track that isn't much. One bad corner and it could be all over.
JP Morgan Wealth Management has advisors in Chase branches and tools like Wealthland to help keep you on track.
64 car's looking pretty slick there tonight. Diamonds that corner off. Gonna be 4 to go as we come to the stripe. Steele not gaining anything, and now he's got a mirror full of Brewer.
Our brains are incredible, but memory can be complicated. That's why we created new
Oh, Brewer fell back a little bit there. Give Steele a little bit of breathing room.
Remember Nuriva.
3 laps to go for our race leader, Michael Davis, in his first DIRTKARS EFRL start, looking to bring home a heat race win. white flag in the air for Michael Davis.
My skincare advice? Use all-free clear detergent, the #1 brand recommended by dermatologists. It's free from fragrance elements found in leading scented detergents. Caring for your skin starts in the laundry room.
Coming out of turn number 4, the number 64 machine of Davis. Steele second, Brewer in third, Fravel in fourth. Fravel. I'm not sure how to pronounce that dude's name. We'll figure it out. Alright, we're going to be on deck in heat race number 2. We're getting ready to strap in, folks. Looks like I'm going to be on the outside front row. Kyle Thayer on the inside. Sean Patrick in that 26 going to be right behind Thayer on the bottom. Alright, we got a top 3 out of the deal. I'm just kidding, we won.
He actually
Woo!
left most of it behind. Randy Sweeney was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole.
The security measures both at Blue Mountain State Park and at other state parks changed significantly as a result of this crime.
You've got a defendant who adamantly denied ever being at this particular spot. But the forensic evidence didn't leave any doubt. Randy Sweeney was there whether he wanted to admit it or not.
With Carrie, I had a poster, and I kept that at my desk for the entire time until after the trial was over, to remind me that I needed to keep working on that case. And so she was always looking at me, saying, well, I've given you what you need to get, so get her done.
Up next, a woman mysteriously disappears.
We called her Thursday, we called her Friday, no answer. She vanished out of nowhere.
Detectives check her apartment, but someone's been there before them.
Obviously, someone's been watching CSI.
He knew we were coming. He knew what he was doing.
A suspect emerges, but he isn't talking.
He was hiding out to sustain himself.
And if police can't find the victim, they'll have a hard time proving murder. Sunday services at the Golden Gate Church in Fort Worth, Texas, were an important part of Glenda Furch's life.
My mother has attended the same church since she was born. Her grandmother attended that church. Her mother's mother. It's a generation church, so it's very important.
So when Glenda didn't show up for services one Sunday morning, family and church members suspected something was wrong.
Her pastor said that even if she didn't go to church on a Sunday, she would call him to apologize for not going to church.
We have been calling her, no answer.
So one of Glenda's daughters went to her apartment. The first thing she noticed was that her mother's car was missing. The apartment door was locked. Glenda wasn't there. But the apartment was stiflingly hot.
The AC had been turned off or turned down, so it was very, very hot. And that was not like Mom did not have any air on in the apartment.
Hey, Mom!
Glenda's daughter assumed her mother had gone somewhere for a few days, so she locked the door. The next day, when Glenda didn't show up for work, her family called police to report her missing. When police arrived, they noticed the air conditioning had now been turned on, and they found unmistakable signs of foul play.
There was a very large bleach stain on her carpet next to her bed in her master bedroom.
Glenda's daughter told police she didn't smell bleach the day before.
There had been some extensive cleaning done, and there were some items missing from the apartment.
Hell no, I'm starting outside pole. One my heat,
But a
buddy.
check of police
Come on.
records showed Glenda called 911 a few weeks earlier, saying she felt threatened.
Forward, police operator 0450, how can I help you?
On the premiere of Super Mega Case, two teams take on a superhero-sized challenge.
My inspiration is literally Superman and the Dave Planet.
It's a big thing. Series premiere, Super Mega Case, Monday night at 9.
Alright, Michael, I'll bet your car.
The most prescribed biologic in asthma. Also approved as an add-on treatment for adults with COPD that is not well controlled and with a specific marker of inflammation. Did you know that your life insurance that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO of Abacus Life, and for almost 20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies for seniors just like you. In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspace.com.
Alright, Davis, you're going to be on the point by yourself. Sean, you get lane choice.
No obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Bipolar 1 can overwhelm your mind. Sometimes
Thanks, Rob. Hit the pace truck, you say.
unpredictable highs can make it hard to get out of your head. Finding relief may help you break through. Ask about Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Vraylar treats depressive, acute manic, and fixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults.
Make sure we're keeping pace with the pace truck after he dips off. We want to maintain pace speed.
For elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis due to increased risk of death and stroke.
I apologize.
Changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts to your doctor.
No problem.
Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain and high cholesterol may occur.
You're Sean's friend. Should we question your intelligence? I'm just kidding. We love you both.
Sleepiness, nausea, vomiting, or indigestion or coma. Side effects may not appear for weeks. Vraylar. Breaking through to relief. Ask about Vraylar.
garbage, investigators found another clue.
We found duct tape, loose duct tape, as well as duct tape still on the wall, and we found some electrical cords that had been wound up or tied up in knots, and other items that looked like they were involved in a fire.
It looked as if someone had used the duct tape and cords to restrain Glenda. The only fingerprints found in Glenda's apartment were Glenda's. Her prints were on file with the police department when she filed an application for a gun permit. That gun was missing from her apartment. Veteran detectives were surprised at how much effort had gone into cleaning Glenda's apartment.
It appeared that they locked down. On your mirrors in your bathroom, those are great places to get fingerprints, where there's not even a smudge on it.
Obviously, someone's been watching CSI. They vacuumed thoroughly, I assume, to try to collect any hair or fibers that might be present.
And apparently whoever used the vacuum cleaner took it with them. 5 days after Glenda's disappearance, someone called police to report a fire at a car wash 30 miles from Glenda's apartment. While officials arrived to find a gold-colored Mazda engulfed in flames.
The sellers had been used and firewood had been delivered to site.
When the vehicle fire was extinguished, investigators found no one inside. The license plate had been removed, but the vehicle identification number was still intact. It was Glenda Birch's car.
While they were doing their investigation, we went on with investigations on what happened. We could not fly her to the neighborhoods. We were talking to media people.
Then, a citizen reported finding a female body wrapped in a blue floral comforter tied with electrical cords along the railroad tracks within the Allenville city limits.
At that moment, there was no doubt in my mind that we had recovered Glenda's body.
But it was not to be. A forensic odontologist compared Glenda's dental records to the unknown female. And it wasn't Glenda.
That news was rather shocking. How many lichen nails tied with electrical cord, wrapped in blue floral comforters, can there be? The answer to that was obviously more.
So the search continued.
At DONNIE'S, an ordinary resident just isn't enough, so they add savory seasoning and tempting butter flavor to every delicious twist. Now that's enough to make you order a special delivery. They're really good at DONNI'S sensational seasoned pretzels.
That is the only way to trust for my hair color. What story will you tell?
Ronnie pretty blind?
Maybe Ronnie has 3 blinds. He's strong. Somebody's strongest.
You love our legendary subs, so you'll love our legendary new Doritos for long nachos. Doritos and Subway, 2 legends come together.
Legends and new legends. Am I right?
Yes, thank you, Jim. Doritos for long nachos. Just $5 only at Subway. Teams share everything, but through certain everyday behaviors, you could also be sharing bacteria that can cause meningitis. Even if your team has been vaccinated in the past, it could be missing vaccinations recommended by the CDC against certain groups of meningitis. Although uncommon, it's a serious disease. Once symptoms appear, death can occur, sometimes within 24 hours, or 1 in 10 die. Is your team missing vaccination against certain groups of meningitis? Ask their doctor today. Are you guys ready?
Alright, top 3, don't forget to line up on the front straight away for pictures.
That was fun back there.
Dude, yeah, that was awesome.
Stop the insanity with cortisone 10 for bug bites, poison ivy, and other agents. It works fast and lasts for hours. Cortisone 10. And for no mess relief, try new cooling spray.
When you want to feel clean and soft, try new Dial Healthy Hydration Body Wash with skin.
Okay, Mr. Davis, make sure you line up at the start finish line so we can get pictures.
Hydrates in one shower for confidence to get closer. Dial up your clean.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, almond joy is made with almonds and joy.
I love my work caring for people. I often assist women who struggle with urinary incontinence, women who have fallen trying to use the bathroom, or who have damaged skin from too much wetness. It can take a toll on them. That's why I'm so glad that Joy System is available for others. It's a convenient option for women who experience moderate to severe.
Alright, good job, guys. That was fun.
This is a soft, flexible wick placed outside the body to draw urine away from the body and into a collection canister. It's non-invasive and designed to keep the skin dry and stay in place. We trust it to help us throughout the day, so we're all better rested and can enjoy the things we love together.
Order yours online at purewickethome.com or call 800-503-8238 today. New external catheters for women and men available for home use. Call 800-503-8238 today.
1 month after Glenda Furch's disappearance, Dallas police noticed a man getting items out of the trunk of a car that had been reported stolen. As police moved in, the suspect took off and led them on a high-speed chase.
He drove the vehicle through a couple of stoplights and had a couple of narrow misses, and then he got on the freeways, and the officers told us that he got that vehicle traveling faster than they ever thought a Ford Probe could move.
A very lengthy pursuit ensued, and the car wrecked out. And they took a young man into custody for fleeing from the police and for driving a stolen car.
The carjacker was 40-year-old Rodney Owens, an unemployed career criminal.
Rodney had a dishonorable discharge from the military. He had assaulted his commanding officer.
A background check revealed Owens had numerous warrants out for his arrest for aggravated assault charges involving his ex-girlfriend. Owens' ex-girlfriend told police Owens had threatened to kill her.
He told her that he could come up behind her and put a plastic bag over her head and watch her die.
She also said Owens had recently been stalking her, and she and her co-workers saw him driving a gold-colored Mazda similar to Glenda's car around the time of Glenda's disappearance. Investigators also learned that Owens once lived in Glenda Furch's apartment complex with his mother.
The front of her apartment looked right out directly at Miss Furch's apartment.
Then, investigators noticed something
Secretary,
else.
because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen criminals that you're rotating on your
containing a roll of Tape brand duct tape. This isn't a common brand. It's sold only in a handful of stores in the Fort Worth area. But it was the same brand
I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen criminals that you're rotating on your
electrical cord that tied in knots.
Investigators wondered if any of the other items in Owen's bag matched items found in the dumpster outside Glenda's apartment.
I have
So they
questions
sent all
for
of the
the
evidence
secretary,
to the
because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen criminals that you're rotating on your
in the electrical cord found in Owen's car.
The same type of knots and the same type of cord that were found in the dumpster outside Glenda Furch's apartment.
You look lovely this evening with your lovely purple frock.
Stop it.
I said frock.
You look lovely in your booby t-shirt.
I've got a booby t-shirt. I see you favour the boobies also.
I'm competing with you, darling.
No, you're not competing. You win hands down. I'm just a minnow compared to your loveliness.
After the
print is developed with an anhydrous.
He's always feeding new music to the group.
Do you listen to it?
Not usually unless I'm with him. So here's the thing about
Okay.
When he falls in love with a new song, it's literally on repeat.
And I compared it
Or he'll add it to the
I
top
get
of the
that.
playlist, so every time you get in the truck, it's the first song that comes on. So here's the other thing about Dad. He likes to turn on heavy rock or something like that when he first wakes up. And like for me, that's going to send me into a rage, and that's going to dictate how I act all day long. He was like, yeah, let's do Tuesday! And I'm like, I am going to claw someone's face off, turn that shit off. We don't have to start off with Metallica, which I like, but not first thing in the morning. Let the bodies hit the floor. Like, I'll run to that, but I don't like to copy to that.
Really, my go-to genre is pop punk and alternative 90s and all that stuff. Kind of crush all that and let it go, right? If I take Amy to any concert of any of those bands, she will rock out, have the best time. But if I turn it on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and there's nothing else going on, she's like, oh, this is something else.
Dale doesn't really read the room.
I'm reading the room and I'm going, I'm changing this room. I don't like this room.
He used to play to his crowd. Back before kids, he would make these lists and have all of his music in his iTunes is rated.
Whatever the room was, I was ready.
And he will play to the crowd. Now he's not. He's here to fuck shit up.
Yeah. Pop time.
I call it whiny boy music. I like that, but I'm like,
we installed a breaker.
It's incredible to me how many people didn't realize this was a thing. If you can find one in the size of fuse that fits your car, you can get breakers to replace the fuses in your motor vehicle that have a little button to reset them when they blow. So if you accidentally keep dropping change in your cigarette lighter and blowing the fuse, you can replace it with one of these. And every time you dig the change out of your cigarette lighter, instead of having to put a new fuse in there, you could just reach down there and push the little button and reset it until the next time.
We installed a breaker.
It's incredible to me how many people didn't realize this was a thing. If you can find one in the size of fuse that fits your car, you can get breakers to replace the fuses in your motor vehicle that have a little button to reset them when they blow. So if you accidentally keep dropping change in your cigarette lighter and blowing the fuse, you could replace it with one of these. And every time you dig the change out of your cigarette lighter, instead of having to put a new fuse in there, you could just reach down there and push the little button and reset.
Do you shower after sex?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe it's time you have some sex. Do you shower after sex?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe it's time you have some sex. Do you shower after sex?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe it's time you have some sex.
I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it. I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail time because we're going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over. And
get help for swelling of your face, mouth, tongue, or trouble breathing. Don't stop your asthma treatments without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens or you have a parasitic infection. Headache and sore throat may occur. Ask your doctor if the Senra is right for you.
Muddy paws, dirty shoes, and endless cleaning? Are your floors always dirty no matter how many times you clean? Now there's a simple solution. Meet Muddy Mat, the ultra-absorbent microfiber chenille mat that keeps your dog's paws so clean. It's like they're wiping them at the door. Muddy Mat is designed with thousands of advanced ultra-soft microfibers that are 5 times more absorbent than ordinary doormats.
My floors have never been so clean. I mean, both Ruby and Blue came in covered in mud, and this anti-mud mat left their paws sparkling. They step across it just once, and it completely makes their paws completely clean of mud. This is the best mat I've ever found, and we have tried many. There's still a sale going on. I wouldn't wait too long before they're gone.
Call or go to trymuddymat.com or scan the QR code to claim your 70% off and your free Muddy Mat. What are you waiting for? Call or go to trymuddymat.com or scan the QR code and get your own Muddy Mat today.
Rodney Owens fell victim to boredom and let his guard down in a conversation with another prisoner.
The suspect told another inmate in jail that he knew that this lady lived alone, that she worked at GM and worked the late shift. He knew she drove a nice car, and he was pretty certain she would have money.
Prosecutors know that Rodney Owens was living in an apartment across from Glenda Furch's, and he knew Glenda's work schedule and habits. On the night of the crime, as Glenda pulled into the parking lot, prosecutors think Owens used a weapon to force Glenda into her apartment. The evidence shows he used duct tape and electrical cords to bind her, and then he sexually assaulted her and killed her. He stole whatever cash and valuables he could find. He then wrapped Glenda's body in bed sheets and placed it in her car. Where he took her body, no one knows. Glenda's daughter stopped in to check on her mother on Sunday. Owens returned on Sunday night and spent hours cleaning the apartment, wiping away the fingerprints, and using the vacuum cleaner to remove hair and fibers. He later took the vacuum with him. Owens threw away most of the items he used in the crime in the dumpster, but he left partial prints on a piece of duct tape and a drink can. He also left his DNA on the drink can and biological evidence on a bathtub, later found by investigators. In the days after the murder, Owen's ex-girlfriend said he was driving a car identical to Glenda's and even used it to stop by her workplace. By the time Owen set fire to Glenda's car, he'd already left plenty of evidence of his involvement in the dumpster outside Glenda's apartment.
We still don't know exactly how Glenda Birch died, but that one fingerprint, the few specimens of blood and semen put this case together. It was enough to know that something bad had happened.
Something sexual happened in that apartment, but I can't substantiate a sexual assault.
The defense hung its case on the fact that there was no body, that they still couldn't prove that Glenda Birch was dead.
But witness after witness testified that Glenda Birch would never just leave her family, her church, and her job. And Owens had a very simple motive. He needed money. 1 year after Glenda Birch disappeared, Rodney Owens was convicted of her murder and sentenced
If you spit on us,
to life.
you're going to the hospital and
He
in
was
jail.
offered a lighter sentence.
If you
in
hit one of
return
us,
for
you're going to the
disclosing
hospital
where he
and
took
jail,
Glenda's
and most
remains.
likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have.
The most difficult part is not
If you throw a brick,
So,
a firebomb, or point a
still
gun at one of
today, we don't know, and it's the unknown. So it's still very difficult.
It was a web. You had the items that were found in the dumpster, his DNA combined with Birch's items. It was a very intricate web that would never could have been put together without the forensics in this case.
I wasn't familiar with forensic science. I knew a little bit, you watch TV, you know, but I wasn't real familiar with it. But learning, going through this process with the DA, with the detectives, and I've learned a lot more. That forensic science is incredible.
Up next, a couple goes on vacation and is never heard from again.
They're not looking for a missing person. Adults don't go missing. Adults leave a trail, and there's no trail, okay?
Police find evidence the couple may have been shot.
Like a shot brand of ammunition is specifically designed for use against human beings.
The last place they were seen was at a well-known nightclub in the resort town.
That was taken at Secrets nightclub the last night that they were alive.
But there were other secrets that night, like what really happened to these two people. was at an office party where Josh Ford and Jeannie Crutchley first met. Both had been married previously, and the two were instantly attracted to one another, despite a considerable age difference.
My car ready?
Josh was 32 years old. Jeannie was 51. And my normal response is, if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't think twice about it.
In Joshua Ford, Jeannie Crutchley found a younger man who was exciting, fun to be around, who also wanted to do new things in life.
Josh was a very successful mortgage broker. Jeannie was an accountant for an insurance company. After dating for 2 years, they moved in together, sharing a house in Fairfax, Virginia.
They were two spirits who really had the same personalities. So when those same two personalities clicked, I don't think the age made that much difference to them. They just fell in love.
The couple rented a condo for the Memorial Day weekend in Ocean City, Maryland, a well-known resort town along the Atlantic shore. But neither one
I can't believe you took it.
Yeah, I'm as surprised as you are.
I'd have figured you'd cave immediately.
Jeannie didn't show
Well, I wanted to, but then I realized maybe some tough love is what she needs
that's
right
when they
now.
notified the
Good
Ocean
for
City
you.
police.
But you can't
Police
keep her
went
money.
to their rented condo and found Jeannie's car in the parking lot.
It was obvious to the police right
Yes.
away that the car
I'm
had been
crazy.
there for an extended period
Yes.
of time.
I
Ocean
cuss a
City,
lot.
The sand blowing around
But
constantly.
yes,
Sand begins to
I'm as real
accumulate
as you
very
get.
quickly.
And nothing
Yes.
was out of place.
We got a complaint from your neighbor that you grabbed her little dog by the leash, swung it around like a lasso while you yelled yippee-ki-yay, mother effer, and threw it 10 yards.
Jeannie's car keys
Yeah,
were
it's-
You're
in
not
the
allowed to do that.
It was yapping at me.
You still can't do that. It's not like we're gonna let you off with a warning because we didn't
Thank you.
actually
Yep.
see.
Oh, okay,
warning? Man.
Thank you. It's okay.
We got a complaint from your neighbor that you grabbed her little dog by the leash.
Met this super hot chick last night at the club named Taylor, and things started hitting off. So she's like, "You want to go back to my place?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go." So we jumped in her car and headed on over to her place. Things getting hot and heavy. We get there and we skip the drinks, head straight back to her bedroom. She's like, "Just let me go freshen up." I'm like, "Sure thing." So I pop my ass down on the bed and I'm looking around, and you got to picture this, guys. Wall to wall is a giant shelf from ceiling to floor, man, and on the very top shelf is just these giant stuffed animals. Next shelf down is more stuffed animals, only they're smaller, and then this goes on and on all the way down to the bottom shelf where there's these like little bitty stuffed animals, and I'm just kind of looking at them all like, holy crap, that's a lot of stuffed animals, and they're all like looking at me, so it's kind of creepy, but I was like, man, this girl's got some weird ass obsession with stuffed animals. So she